Welcome back to the channel, guys. Super excited to kick off this video where I want to go over the winning mindset, not just for traders in general, but really also for my Akashx members. Now, before I get started, if you're wondering, well, what is Akashx, right? Maybe you're new to the channel, you haven't heard of that before. It is a private mentorship program that I happen to educate for, that I've been doing for the past year and a half. And in our platform that you're going to be seeing here, we're going to be going over things like our academy videos, live sessions, and our trade alerts / tap to trade. So if you are not in Akashx, this is still something that applies to your trading, something that you can incorporate into the way you see the markets, the way you handle your risk, the way you scale your accounts, etc. If you are in Akashx, this video is going to really show you how to leverage the educators aside from just myself and all of the resources, tools, etc. to maximize your experience here in the platform. So when we talk about mindset, sometimes it can be a phrase that is overused. People think that it's positive thinking, motivation, right? And yes, those are important things that I'll touch on. But really, when I say mindset, I'm more or less referring to a mental framework of expectations, of beliefs, and of processes that will help you get to the results that you're ultimately looking for. Because I'm the first person that believes, again, in things like positive thinking, hope, just being in a state of mind of happiness and looking forward to your goals. But I'm also very practical, right? I'm somebody that I really want to show you how it actually gets done so that we're not just, again, only hoping to win, but actually executing a game plan to move the needle forward in your journey, right? So with that said, we're going to dive into, starting with beginner concepts, things that are very simple, and then we'll kind of work our way up in more detail. So if you're new to trading, or if you're new to Akashx, you are in a place where maybe you don't know how to read a chart like the one that you're looking in front of you right now. You're in a position where you just want to make more money. You want to multiply your money. You see that people are winning in the financial markets and you feel like, man, I'm missing out. I need to take action. I want to participate in the wealth that is being created in these markets every single day, right? That sounds about right. It's time to pay attention, right? It's time to really lock in. So when you're brand new, because I've been obviously in that position like everybody else, it starts with understanding that you cannot conquer an entire industry and a very difficult skill set in a single day, in a single hour, right? This is something that takes time. People don't want to hear that. A lot of people are scared of commitment, are scared of the long haul, or they just want instant results, right? But that mental framework will not work if you want to maximize trading, period. Now, with that said, when you are part of a platform like Akashx, you are going to shorten the curve of learning, and you are going to shorten the curve of how long it can take to see results, because you need to be leveraging the professionals, right? So again, if you are somebody that is not in Akashx, is not receiving any type of mentorship, is just really trying to do this alone, you are going to have to be very patient, and you're going to have to fail, and you're going to have to lose money, and you're going to have to do a lot of things to basically have the skin in the game required to do things correctly. Now, with that said, you can avoid blowing accounts. You can avoid ultimately, failing, right, before getting back up if you follow some of the core principles that I'm going to be talking about, especially when it comes to the risk management portion and the psychology portion of trading. So is it possible to win without a mentor? Is it possible to win without a platform? Absolutely. It's just going to take a lot longer, and you're going to have to fail a lot more because you will not have the guide. You will not have wisdom passed on to you to help you see and avoid mistakes that could have been seen or avoided beforehand, right? So that is the value of getting mentorship. That is the value of being a part of something like Akashx and leveraging professionals who have ultimately been doing this for a very long time and have put in the grind to figuring that out for you, okay? So when you're brand new, you're probably going to be looking at these charts, very confused. I was, right? I would look at these up and down candles, right? I didn't really know how to read it, right? I felt like I was just looking at an ocean of, sticks going up and down and all these lines and colors. And it was overwhelming. I mean, I felt like analysis paralysis to the highest, right? If you've ever been in that position where you're trying to decipher and make a decision, especially in a heated moment with little time to act, you know that your mind races, right? And so when we're trying to actively day trade and you don't know how to read charts or anything, you can be like, man, I don't think this is for me. I just don't see a path of how I'm gonna read this stuff. It looks so crazy, so complicated. That is limiting belief number one. And limiting beliefs are absolutely the number one thing that are going to hold you back, not just in trading, but in your life period, right? It's paradigms that we learn, such as money doesn't grow on trees, right? Or saying negative things about yourself like, oh, well, I'm just not that smart. Or, oh, I'm just not good at this type of stuff, right? Those are words that I hear so many people say when they get involved into anything, business, computer, related things. And guys, again, I came from zero, as well as every single other success story that you've seen in any industry, right? You have to start somewhere. So again, don't try to conquer this all in one day, because you're going to be very overwhelmed. Just take it one step at a time. One step at a time, right? And that just comes from, again, watching a YouTube video like this, right? Watching an Educator Academy video on our platform if you are in Akashx, right? Getting on live trading sessions, reading books about trading. You just have to do the little actions every single day. It is the same type of process as growing in the gym. If you are trying to lift a super heavy weight on your first day, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to realize, man, I just don't think I'm cut out for this weight training stuff. What happens is you got to show up consistently. You have to be there day in and day out, doing what you can with what you know and what you're capable of right now, and building on that. So with that said, what can we do to get the ball rolling? And that's where tap to trade and leveraging professionals is the hack, is the cheat code, is the way to really get the ball rolling for yourself. So I'm going to go head over to Akashx, user.akashx.com, or you can download the app on the App Store for Apple and Google Play Store for Android. Okay, so we have other videos, resources showing you how to connect to your tap to trade, right? So whatever broker you're using, if it's MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, Trade Locker, you may have a funded account with TradexMastery, you may have a live personal account with Trident Markets. If you don't have a broker, if you don't have a prop firm of choice right now, being that I am not a financial advisor, I can't tell you what broker to choose, right? You guys have to go and do the research and make a decision for yourself, but you can find the links to the brokers that I personally use for myself in the description of this video if you guys want to check them out and get started with them. So once you have your account connected with Tap to Trade, we're simply going to wait for one of those trades to come out. Now, two ways that you're going to see these alerts. Number one is going to be, again, through the Tap to Trade button on the website and or app. And you will see Tap to Trade called out, who sent out the trade, last one being Muhammad. It's going to show you where they're getting in, stop loss, take profit. The greatest thing is that you don't even have to know how to trade. You can simply hit the approve button that would be showing to the right of this trade if it were still active. Right now there are no current trades open. The market just opened here half an hour ago. It is 5:30 Central, Sunday, July 14th at the time of this recording, right? So if there is a active tap to trade that comes out, you will see that notification come through and you will have a few minutes to approve the trade, right? Once you are approved that trade, you are going to see that your trade locker MetaTrader is going to execute that position for you. And from there, the educator will be closing the position when they see fit. If it hits take profit, the trade could close. If they move their stop loss to break even, that will be done all for you. You literally do not have to do anything when it comes to accepting the trades. Simply just hitting approve and letting it go. Okay. Now, with that said, why am I talking about mindset? Well, here's the first nugget as far as expectations and understanding how do I actually, leverage tap to trade and this platform to see my profits, right? And so understand that no matter what platform, no matter what mentor, whether you have one or don't have one, if it's this company, another company, an influencer on social media, YouTube, Instagram, it doesn't matter. Anybody that trades is going to have wins and they're going to have losses. You're going to have winning streaks and you're going to have losing streaks. So even if you are a professional, you are going to encounter those things. So with that said, if you're coming into tap to trade, right, or any platform, but we're going to focus on tap to trade, and you expect to win all of your trades, you have the wrong framework. You do not have the right expectations. And when people do not have the right expectations, you will experience things like frustration, which leads to irrational thinking and bad decision making. And that is the ultimate recipe for losing money and failing. Okay, so with that said, if we have the proper expectations, if we understand the mental framework that we're going to win some, lose some, and I'm going to show you now the actual math of profitability and actually seeing how you can win, that's what's going to make a lot of sense to you and give you the emotional control to see the ebbs and flows of the reality of your profit and loss curve, also known as your P&L, right? So your P&L, you're going to see is either going to be a spike up and then a spike down, meaning you made 500, lost 500, made 1,000, lost 1,000, and you're going to go on these very, high, low peaks and valleys, kind of like riding a roller coaster, right? That's why they call it an emotional roller coaster, because it has very high highs and very low lows. Guys, in trading, we want to avoid intense feelings, right? When we have those, big winners, like you just did something crazy on your account that was good, congratulations. I would probably secure that money, withdraw, pay yourself, because if you are that excited and it was really that big of a win, the chances are you risked a lot of money to make that win happen, right? A lot of people can really show, oh, I made such and such this trade or this day or whatever. But I'm always interested in how much did you have to risk in order to make what you made? Because here's the thing. If we have, for example, $1,000 and you just made $1,000 in one trade, right? You basically doubled your money. That is amazing, right? If you doubled your money, congratulations, man. Making $1,000 in one trade, wow. But how much of your account did you risk to make that $1,000? Did you risk $800 to make that 1,000? Did you risk $500 to make that 1,000? Did you risk $300? Because anytime you execute a trade in the market, people are so concerned with what they're going to make when they really should be focused on what am I going to potentially lose if I hit stop loss on this trade? What happens if the trade does not go how I want it to go? Am I prepared for that outcome? Both financially and mentally, emotionally, right? You have to buy into that risk. If you are executing a trade, it is because you have bought into the risk that you're taking, or you're just completely oblivious to the risk that you're taking. It's only one of the two situations, because if you're not willing to accept the risk, you won't take the trade. So if you are in a trade, whether it is a tap to trade, whether it is a trade alert, or your own trade, at the end of the day, you need to know, hey, if I hit stop loss on this trade, what am I going to lose? Because again, if I'm risking almost half or more of my account to make that $1,000, you just got to really hope that trade works out. And here's the thing, guys. When you trade with a very high risk, with oblivious thinking, sometimes you can really get something called beginner's luck. You can go through something like a winning streak. But at some point, the law of averages, the probabilities, they will work in your favor and also work against you. And so you have to be able to risk manage and really, again, maintain your account in a way where you can handle a loss, a couple of losses. Obviously, you don't want to be going through something where you're losing a bunch of trades in a row because you are just not following your trading plan. You're just randomly gambling the market. That is not okay. But if you're following your trading plan, if you know the strategy, if you're doing things correctly, and you lose 2 or 3 trades in a row, that can definitely happen. Is your risk plan accounting for those 2 or 3 trades that you can lose in a row? Can you survive that? Can you recover from that? Number one, with your account percentages, but also the mental toll that it could take to see your account diminish drastically from just a few trades. You see, because if you guys are risking something like 1% of your account, right? Which I'll get into the approach when it comes to prop firms, personal accounts, right? If you're risking 1% of your account, you can afford to lose a couple trades in a row and be totally fine. But if you're risking a big chunk of your account in one single trade, if you lose 2 or 3 in a row, you could be over half of your account lost. And that is super hard, again, to recover from mentally compared to somebody who's just down a couple percent on their account. So everybody's going to have a certain risk tolerance of what they can handle, what they see fit for their goal, and again, what you're willing to accept. As long as you're willing to accept whatever that risk is, and you have some sort of proof, whether it's a demo account, whatever, some type of track record that you can say, hey, I'm not just winging it. I'm not just hoping for the best, right? I'm actually coming into trading as a business, right? I'm thinking of it as, hey, I need to put down this money to potentially make this money. And we've kind of seen all the details and it seems like a good investment. That is more or less the mental framework of a good trade. A bad trade, or maybe you're just, again, oblivious to the process, is it looks good, I'm going to take a buy and I'm going to risk half my account because I'm going to probably flip this account. For people that are a little bit more experienced, that just sounds funny or crazy, but a lot of people do really go about trading their first couple of months or year or whatever like that because they don't know any better or they think they can get away with it. I tell people all the time, one of the worst things that can happen to you is actually a good thing, where you start off really hot as a trader and you think that you can maintain disrespecting risk and disrespecting the law of averages and probabilities for the long haul. And you just haven't ever made the mistake. You haven't ever had the market humble you, right? The minute that happens is when you truly have your second awakening as a trader. One is when you find out about it. 2 is when you really understand it. And it takes losing. It takes realizing like, oh, wow, okay, I have to approach my risk a very specific way if I want to stay in the game. I got to stay in the game to play the game. So if you don't have funds to trade with, you can't play the game. So you need to protect your capital at all costs. That's the first thing. After you're protecting your capital, then you can go and make profit. Now I want to show you guys some actual math, right? So we just talked a little bit about some mindset and some mental framework around risk and around how you go about your psychology with trades, right? But now if we just look at tap to trade, right? I want you to look at this last one from Muhammad, okay? So we're going to pull up gold here. We're going to drop this down to maybe a 15-minute time frame, and we're going to see entry price 2402.65. Now this broker may be slightly different than mine, but we're just going to go in here and assume that we are pretty much on the same page. So 4102.65 should be right here. I'm sorry, 2402.65. Yeah, 2402.65. So let's put 2402.65. And our stop loss is going to be 2398. And our take profit is going to be 2415. and here's our trade. All right, so you can see this was a trade that was called out on tap to trade. And one thing that stands out to me that is a great thing is notice our risk to reward ratio right here. And we can see if you look at here, 2.66 risk to reward ratio. So what does that mean? It means that we are risking this much, this gray box right here, which happens to be 46 pips, a little bit over 45 pips, to make about 123, right? So about 45 to make 125 roughly. And the risk to reward is 2.66. So that means that if I risk, let's say 1% of my account on this trade, I just made 2.6%. If I risk 10%, I just made 26%. And vice versa. So you have to understand, you know, whatever I'm risking, I'm basically making double and a half of that. That is, in my opinion, how I like to go about trading as well, where whatever I'm risking in the market, I want to be making at least whatever I'm risking back, but ideally minimum double or triple and even more of the account, right? I want to get high risk to reward ratios. Now, does that mean that you have to do that? Absolutely not. There are some educators, and I want to highlight some of that right now, that are going to have sometimes even smaller take profits than their stop losses. And at the end of the day, guys, every educator is going to have their method that has been back tested, and they've done it in their personal trading for God knows how long before they unleash it into the community and into something like tap to trade. So you have to understand the philosophy, right? If you see an educator that trades a certain way, on Akashx, you can go into their live sessions. You can go into their educator academies, right? If you go here, Educator Academy Training Series, and you can see people like Brent, Joel, myself, Todd, the list goes on. If you're taking tap to trades or trade alerts from certain people, it's probably best to watch their academies that show the way that they manage trades, the way that they do things, right? This is my channel right here. I have my 10 pre-recorded videos that talk on basics, my strategy with Liberty, risk management, psychology, etc. So leverage that. Understand the way that they're trading. Again, with Muhammad, in this specific trade, I love it. I mean, this trade ended up running for over 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which is my ideal target. Again, this tap to trade was about a 2.6. That's fantastic, guys. For example, if you're trading a funded prop firm account like TradexMastery, and you take a tap to trade like this, you risk 0.5%, right? Something very conservative. You just made about 1.5% on this trade, right? Almost triple. 2.6%, you probably made about a little bit less than 1.5%, basically, like 1.2%, something like that, right? So again, if you put a higher risk, something like 1%, then you're making 2.5% on this trade. And we all know with the rules with prop firms usually, and specifically TradexMastery, right? You need to make 10% on your phase 1, and you need to make 5% on your phase 2. So when you're taking trades, again, that are risking a certain amount to make double or more, that is how you're going to pass the challenges faster, right? And you're going to be able to absorb some of these losses with a win, right? So you can see, again, this is just going off of literally exactly the trades you see here. Muhammad, gold, buy, entry, stop loss, take profit. I'm just plugging it into here so you can get a visual of what that tap to trade looked like. And this was the result of that one specific tap to trade. So see how powerful that is, that you're able to take a trade from an educator that says, hey, all you have to do is hit approve. I'm taking this trade for you on your account and managing it for you. And you have a trade where you're entering here and you're making more than double and a half of that risk. Guys, that is the power of tap to trade. And that is what I recommend that you do when you're brand new into the platform, into the trading industry, is leverage people like myself, Mohammed, Armin, Francesca, right? All the other educators you're going to see sending trades on here. Now, something that I would say is a tip, right? Because I mentioned that even as a professional, you're going to have winning streaks, you're going to have losing streaks, you're going to have ebbs and flows. Is the educators will experience the same thing, guys. And you have to understand that there are going to be times to leverage certain educators more than others. A way that you can check that, right, is if you go to the Tap Traders section, you will actually see the View Trade History button for these educators, and you're going to be able to really see how they're performing, right? We're all human. Some of these educators may not be having a great trading day or week, right? And you may want to gravitate towards those who have been consistently showing, hey, we are mentally in the game right now. We are going through our winning streaks and doing things well right now. Follow those traders, guys. Take those tap to trades, right? Eventually, you'll see some of these other educators start to boost their results, start to get back up on top, and you can start gravitating towards them again, right? So check the trade histories, start looking at who are the most profitable traders on this section, and continue to plug in with their tap to trades, all right? Now, the trade alert section is a little bit different. Again, if you're newer, you probably don't want to do this until you understand how to calculate your lot sizes. I have other videos, especially within Akashx, on risk management that show how to calculate your risk. I know we have some YouTube video content as well that talks about risk that you can find right up here on this link if you want to check that out. Now, with, again, risk management, it depends. Are you in a personal account that you're looking to aggressively grow? Are you trading a funded account that has daily drawdown rules, overall drawdown rules, etc.? Then you need to really plan out your risk management strategy tailored to that. So I know that for the most part, a lot of people are going to be funded and are going to be using tap to trade to, pass their challenges, etc. Again, guys, you need to understand that as long as you can weather the storm of a few losses in a row, because it will happen even with tap to trade, right? I'm very transparent about how it works because, again, right expectations means that you can have the right attitude and belief and trust in the product, in how we do things here. So with that said, guys, I say, listen, if you can just have a risk management plan where you're able to absorb at least 3 losses in a row, right? 3 to 5 to be really safe, then you're okay. Because here's the thing, if you take 5 losses in a row, most people are going to absolutely lose their mind when they're brand new because they're like, oh my God, we're never winning a trade again. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose my account. Slow down. If you have the right risk that can accommodate that can anticipate that potential, and you're able to sustain through that, you're golden. What happens is we want to really speed up how fast we get funded. We want to speed up how fast we get successful. So we start going a little bit more aggressive with our risk. And when the time rolls around that a couple of trades lose, you absolutely cannot handle it because you wanted something faster. You wanted something on your timeline when at the end of the day, it's not about what you want. It's about performance. It's about execution. It's about following a plan. So again, think about it, guys. It's just common sense, right? If we can have a risk management approach where we can lose 5 trades in a row and still be okay, do you not think you're going to come out on top eventually? Absolutely. It's when you can't sustain 2 or 3 trade losses in a row because you're so aggressive with your risk that when the times are great, you're ecstatic, but when the times are not so great, you are, again, in the valley. You are going through it. You're about to lose your account. You're about to burn your account. You're losing all faith in trading, Akashx, the educators, right? And again, for those that are not in Akashx, for those that are just trading on their own, it's the same thing. If you know that you're taking your own strategy, you're taking your own trades, and you have not accommodated your risk to be able to sustain multiple losses in a row, you're naive. You're naive to how good you think you can do in the markets. You're naive to, you thinking that you're going to be the 0.00001% top performers in the world that barely ever lose trades. Is it possible? Yes. Do I wish that for you? Absolutely. If you can do it, hey, round of applause to you. I really do salute you. But the majority of people, including myself, I have a 60 to 70% win rate. I don't expect to win all of my trades at all. In fact, I don't even trust myself to win 80 to 90% of my trades. It's not my performance. It's not my edge. It's not how I've planned my framework with my trading. But I know that with risk to reward, I can have a 60 to 70% win rate and still be at minimum breaking even, managing my account until I start seeing those bigger winners come through. And that is the key, guys. That is the magic. All right. So look, there's so much that we can really discuss. And that is why we have an entire mentorship program that keeps you in the loop, that keeps teaching you things, that keeps building you as a trader through Tap to Trade, through trade alerts, through our live sessions, through our videos to help you navigate this industry and get better and better every single day. But for one video, right, it's impossible to cover it all. So what I would say is your main takeaway from this mindset video is that if you understand how to position size yourself with taking tap to trades, with taking trade alerts, and taking your own trades to where you're able to handle a few losses in a row, eventually you're going to make yourself profitable, right? So analyze the last couple of tap to trades that come out, right? If you don't know how to do it, right, get in contact with me, get in contact with your mentors, get in touch with another educator from whoever is sending out these tap to trades, right? If you're in the community, you can absolutely see their names. Send them a message, whether it's on Telegram, whether it's on Instagram. Get on their live sessions and ask them these questions, right? Really be serious about your success because we have the answers, right? Especially if these are trades that we're taking specifically, right? Like if you had a question about, Francesca's last trade, you can absolutely, communicate with Francesca. If you have a question for Armin, Mohammed, right? We have our times to communicate with members, right? In the chat, social media, whatever. And understand our specific approaches to how we handle the risk, how we tell our members to, risk on these positions, whether you're on a prop firm, whether you're on a live account. So my last tip to you guys, honestly, is for a rule of thumb. I know some of you are probably wondering, like, man, can you just give me an exact number? If you want to aggressively grow a personal trading account, the highest I would really go is 10% risk per trade, because if you lose 5 in a row, you're down half your account, but you're still in the game, you see? If you're risking more than 10%, you are very, very deep territory of gambling almost, right? With funded accounts, goes the same way. I personally like to scale risk up. So if you are, at break even or just starting the challenge, you might want to start with something like 0.5% per trade of risk and create a buffer for yourself, right? See that you're up 1 or 2% in profit, right? So you can, not feel that pressure of being in drawdown, and then leverage that profit to risk like 1% per trade. So you can speed up the process of getting funded, right? Actually start taking trades that move the needle faster. But when you're in drawdown or when you're starting the account, you really probably want to just, again, maintain that break even / slight profit until you can scale more risk into it. So again, we have more resources and everything that will go much more in depth with, the details. But for the most part, again, if you're brand new to trading, if you're brand new to Akashx, I believe that this mindset, conversation that we've had here can definitely at minimum put you at ease mentally and really, buy yourself time, right? Buy yourself time to trust the process. Because the biggest shame that we see in this industry is that people just don't give themselves the grace to, see progress, right? To be able to give it some time, right? Sometimes people, they see their first month, first 2 months, and they're like, man, even with tap to trades, I'm just not, passing my challenge yet, or I'm just not, making money yet, or whatever the case is. I've seen people make money in their first day, in their first week, with Akashx, without Akashx, right? And then there's people that it takes them a month. It takes them a couple of months to really start seeing things get into motion. But my thing here, guys, is that if you want to be successful in entrepreneurship, in investing, in trading, and you don't have that mentality of learning, of understanding, of trial and error, and giving something the time that it needs to really become great, then you're just always going to settle for the quick and now. And there's no such thing as quick money. There's no such thing as quick money that stays, right? That sticks around for the long term. If it's way too easy, if it's just way too falling on your lap, something's wrong, guys. Even with Tap to Trade and this platform, we have created an environment that is so simple and so easy to plug in for somebody brand new. Again, you just saw it. Mohammed's last trade, as of this recording, a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. You take 1% risk on that trade, you're up 2.5%. You're a quarter of the way through passing a phase 1 challenge in just one Tap to Trade. But you have to allow more trades like that to happen, right? Sustain some losses, right? And give it the time that it needs. And do not lose faith, do not lose trust. Understand that you have to make the adjustments, because if it's not working, you're doing something wrong, and that's okay. Somebody has the answers. Educators, mentors. Get educated, stay consistent, and until the next video, guys, you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, share this out there. Tap to Trade is absolutely going viral in 2024. We have had an amazing explosion of growth in our memberships for Akashx in about the last couple of weeks. So we're really excited for the future here with Akashx. If you guys have not, subscribed to, our private mentorship program here with Akashx, you can see the links in the description of the video as well. If you want to get started with Akashx, if you have some questions and you want to contact me about this in more detail, definitely do that as well. But guys, until the next video, you take care and let's run it up.